Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Amazing Towing. I want to welcome everybody to this webinar on how to make money with vacant and abandoned properties. My name is Toyin Dawodu, and I'm the founder of GICdealfinders.com, where I show people how to make money, whether you have a license or not, as long as you want to participate in the real estate business. GIC Deal Finders allows you to make money. Today's webinar, as I stated, is how to make money on vacant and abandoned properties. Okay, that's the reason you are here. So I want you to listen carefully because I'm going to be going over a lot of information. So if you have, your phone and any distractions, you need to turn it off. I'm going to show you how I have focused over the last, several years since we've had this major recession, and properties have been abandoned. Millions and millions and millions of properties. Right now, there are over 14 million properties out there that are vacant and abandoned. And if you drive around your neighborhood, okay, after this webinar, I want you to get in your car, just drive 1 mile square of your neighborhood, and I can guarantee you'll find 2, 3, 4, or 5 properties that are either vacant, maybe boarded up, okay? And I don't care where you live. Even people that live in Beverly Hills in California have properties that are abandoned, right? Where somebody hasn't lived there for a while, or the grass is dry and needs work, that kind of stuff. Code violations, it was inherited by somebody, they don't want it. Those kind of properties, just drive around your neighborhood and you will see that. I do this on a regular basis. No matter where I'm going, I have my radar out, always looking for properties that I could take the addresses down, okay? When I get home, I check who has it, and then I follow up. So I'm going to show you how to do all that in this webinar. So I'll be covering some of this information, locating and recognizing vacant and abandoned houses, okay? So, you'll be able to find out where the houses are. How do you recognize them? How do you find the owner? How do you get control of the property? Do you need money to get control of the property? What is the status of the property? How do you do research? I mean, how do you find out title and stuff like that? Okay, how do you know who's on title? When do you need escrow? And if there's a loan on the property, how do you negotiate with the lender so that you are able to discount the property? Okay, some of the properties I'm going to show you, you will see how I got a hold of the property, then go back and talk to the lender and discounted the loan 30, 40, 50, sometimes 60%. What I mean by 60% is somebody owes 100,000 in the property. I knocked off $60,000, got the property for 40 cents on the dollar. So if you buy a property that is worth 100,000 for 40,000, how much have you made? $60,000. So next time you drive by an abandoned property or a property that you suspect that is vacant and somebody doesn't live there, okay, you want to take the address down and do something with it, okay? And I will go over several properties that I've done over the years where all I did was send a single 40-cent letter, a letter, with a 40-cent stamp to the owner that either living out of state, okay, and I just told them, hey, I saw your property, it looks like, it's abandoned. What are you doing with it? Do you want to, do something with it? And they respond to me, okay, and I've made anywhere from 10, 15, 20, 30, sometimes as much as, $100,000 on a property, okay, that nobody wanted. And then you will find out that you could have had the same property, okay. I'm going to give you an example. Say, for example, you're driving by around a property on a regular basis, right? And you find out that 2-3 years, the property is just vacant, nobody's doing anything with it, right? And then eventually you see that the property is being fixed up, somebody is living in it, Have you ever wondered, what happened in between? Okay, somebody made money, but it wasn't you because you just drove by, you didn't notice it, it wasn't of a concern to you. So from now on, I want you to notice every vacant property you drive by, every abandoned property you drive by in your neighborhood, wherever you're going, write the address down. And if you don't know what to do with it, okay, you will get the opportunity to work with me one-on-one so we can both make money. Because obviously, why am I telling you this? Well, I can only cover properties within my neighborhood. I mean, I live in California, even though I live in an area where properties are selling anywhere from 500,000 to about $2-3 million, I still find a lot of abandoned properties. Okay, and then when I go to other areas, in my city, there's a lot of properties out there that either abandoned, vacant. The lender stopped foreclosing, the owner already moved out, the lender has not finished the foreclosure, so the property is now in a zombie state. Okay, so this webinar, since it's going to cover a lot of information, obviously I can't answer all your questions that you might have as I go through this process. Okay, so at the end of the seminar, I promise to give some of you that might be interested or might have more questions the opportunity to work with me on a one-on-one basis if that's what you desire. Okay, so I'm going to go over as much as I can, but any other question or things that you might want to know, I'll give you the opportunity to get with me, make an appointment on a one-on-one basis to cover the rest. Now, you might want to ask yourself, why real estate? Okay, this is the reason I do real estate. As you can see right here, I have the picture of my daughter, okay, myself, that's my pumpkin right there. Okay, everything I do around my girl. Okay, and that's one of the reasons I'm in real estate. I don't have to report to anybody at 8 o'clock in the morning or 7 o'clock in the morning. I do what I want to do after she's gone to school, and I take her to school in the morning. Whenever I have the opportunity, in most cases, I do have the opportunity. Okay, unless her mom decides to take her that morning. So what happens is that, when I take her to school, I see other parents that are rushing to get to work. I'm relaxed. I go to class with her and I ask her, Pumpkin, what's going on today? What do you want to do? What are you doing? Show me your teachers, stuff like that. So I spend maybe 10-15 minutes, whereas the other parents, they drop their kids right at the gate. I followed her. Give you another example. Like yesterday afternoon, what was I doing? We were out swimming. You could see her right there jumping on the swimming board. Okay, so real estate allows you to do this kind of stuff. Okay, gives you the opportunity to work at your own pace, to control your own time. Okay, and control your own destiny. Okay, so that's why I'm in real estate, and I want to give you the opportunity to get started in real estate, even if you have a full-time job, which is fine. Okay, so with your full-time job, every time you are on your way to work or coming back from work or you're running errands, okay, you run into properties that might be vacant, that where the grass is dry, okay, nobody's taking care of the property. Write the address down. I will show you how to investigate it, find out who is the owner. Even the owner living there might be tired of the property, might be even wanting to sell. Okay, and most times nobody is living in the property, because it's vacant. So you might be wondering, well, yeah, who am I? Why am I qualified to tell you this? Okay, the reason is because if you look behind my picture, there's some of the properties that I bought. Okay, I've done over 400 properties, and I do properties every day. That's all I do. That's my passion. I have other passions, like I mean, not that I have to do properties. It's just that buying and selling houses. It's like, you remember when you were a kid and your mom buy you a bike when you're like 4 or 5 years old. What do you want to do? You want to ride the bike all day long. That's the way I look at houses. Okay, I could buy a house, or I go to bed dreaming of houses. I wake up dreaming of houses to buy. Okay, it's just so much fun to leave your house. Okay, come back home with a grand deed in your pocket and you have $50,000 equity. Okay, when you sell the house, you turn it into cash, because there's an adage in the real estate business: the day you buy the property is the day you make your money. You now take your profit when you sell. Okay, property business is the only business you are in such that on the day you make a deal, you know exactly how much you're going to make. You can't even say that in any other business. When you make a deal on real estate, you could use your own money, you could use other people's money. In most cases, I make deals with as little as zero down. In some cases, I buy properties for $1, $10, and especially these vacant and abandoned houses. The owners don't want them. They are literally looking for somebody to give the property to. Okay, and so since I've done so many of these deals, I have so much experience that I can give to somebody like you who hasn't been in the business. So next time you see a property that is vacant, please write the address down. Let's look for the owner and let's make money together. And I want to teach you to where you are even going to be able to do it on your own, and you won't even need me. Because if you live in Oklahoma, you live in Texas, you live in Dallas, or you live in any part of the other world, right? I know a lot about real estate in the US, okay? Because in the US, buying real estate is the easiest transaction you could get involved in. You could buy a house with no ID in the US, okay? It's a lot easier to buy a house than it is to buy a car, or to even go to Best Buy and buy a freaking computer because they want your ID. When I buy a house, the owners don't even ask me for anything. They don't even ask for money, because in some cases, they just want somebody to get them out of the headache of owning a house. So that's one of the reasons why I'm qualified. I do a whole bunch of other stuff, and I've done a whole lot in the past, So I will quickly run up through some of my other qualifications. I have, not that all these qualifications matter, and you don't need the same qualifications to get to the level that I'm in right now, okay? I can guide you to the level that I'm in, to where you will be able to recognize a deal just driving by a house. You'll be able to see, wait a minute, that's a deal right there. I'm going to reverse my car, take a picture, and if you're a member of GIC Deal Finance, you can upload it. And if I buy it, you make money, right? Okay. If you want to do the deal on your own, I'll teach you how to do it on your own, so you won't even need me in the future. Okay. And so if you look at the fact that when you go to work, you have to work for 40 hours in a week, sometimes to make $300, $400, $500. Doesn't matter how much you make. Even if you make up to $1,000 a week, you could make that money, okay, by finding and recognizing a vacant house. Okay, you could make the amount of money that you're going to make in a month in one single deal in real estate. And sometimes you could make the same amount of money you're going to make in a whole year. I've done deals where I made $60,000 on one single property. Now, how many months? I mean, I don't want to say years, months do you have to work to make 60,000 bucks? Okay. And when you look at, day in, day out, driving and all those kind of things, you have to make 60,000. But you could do that in a real estate deal. Not that everybody's going to be able to do that right away. It takes some kind of experience and coaching and hand-holding. And that's what I bring to the table to show you. Plus, I've done this for so long. I've done property business for almost 20 years. Okay. I have a broker's license, okay, for the last 20 years. I use my broker's license mostly to list my own properties. I don't list properties for other people. And you don't need a license to do this. Okay. I don't use my license to buy properties. I buy properties as an investor. I've done a whole bunch of other things. I've started over 12 different companies over the last 20 years, and each business I grew them to over $1 million in revenue. So I have a lot of experiences in starting businesses, and property business is one of the ones that I was the most successful at. Okay, and I've been able to do over 400 of them and bought properties over worth over $50 million. At some point, I owed a lot of it, and I had lawyers working for me. In fact, I went to law school for a little bit, okay, before I realized that, wait a minute, one of my lawyers asked me, Twain, why are you going to law school? We're already working for you. Why do you want to go to law school? Then I realized that, yeah, he's right. I was too busy. So I used to own a mortgage company. I've done a lot of coaching with other so-called gurus. Okay, if there is a guru out there, I've attended their information seminar, webinar, and you name it, I've done it. I did it just to find out what else do these people really have, right? What else could they teach me that I don't know? You know, it's a lot of fun because, you know, if you have the money, okay, you need to get as much knowledge as you can, especially from people that have done it. So a lot of these successful coaches have taken their websites, I mean, their webinars or seminars, you know, okay. One of the things that I really appreciate in terms of helping people is that rather than just take 2 3 day webinars, okay, the most successful students are those who have mentors and coaches that actually held their hand. The reason I'm so successful is because I had somebody hold my hand over a period of time, such that when I made a mistake, I have somebody to call. When I encounter a problem and the seller said to me, well, what about this, what about that, okay, when I run into a brick wall, I always have my mentor and coach to call. And that's some of the things you have to keep in mind as you go on this journey of becoming, you know, an investor or trying to make money in real estate. Okay. Um, you know, I do a lot of, you know, I read the Wall Street Journal every day. I mean, it's like, I mean, it's a lot of fun to me, you know, reading the journal. I enjoy it a lot. I read The Economist, which give me a, you know, world perspective. I read most of the business magazines. Okay, to me, my phone consists of anything that is business. You know, I'm not in the realm of having to go to, you know, this so-called, you know, Disney World and stuff like that. Except when I have to take my daughter, okay, and have that kind of fun. But left to me, I could just settle, be home reading books and stuff like that. Okay. And then I spend time on other stuff, you know, because if you Google my name, you will notice I'm doing stuff that really has nothing to do with real estate because I have passion for helping other people. For example, right now, I'm helping to build power plants in Africa, you know, because if you live in the US, you will not appreciate all the things that you have. Some people wake up every morning and they have no electricity, they have no water. Okay, so that's another passion of mine, helping other people in other parts of the world. Okay, so real estate is a business. Okay, if you're going to get involved in real estate, I want you to look at it as a business, because if you look at, you know, getting a franchise, starting a business, McDonald's, you know, Subway sandwich, or a manufacturing company, you need a lot of money. Real estate is the easiest, fastest business anyone can get into without having to mortgage, so to say, or without having to borrow a ton of money from the bank. I got started in my real estate business after I had gone through a very hard time in my life, right, where I lost $10 million overnight, and I was almost depressed, so to say, for almost 2 years, had no money. I went and started a real estate business with only about $298 line of credit from my local newspaper. Okay, and then grew it to over 400 properties. So real estate is a business. I will show you and teach you how to make it a business, starting part-time, even if you have a job right now. Now, so where are you? Why are we here? You know, we're going to be talking about how to make money on vacant and abandoned properties, right? Now, as I stated earlier, there are over 14 million vacant and abandoned houses in the US, and this is one of them, okay? And I'm going to tell you the story of this house, okay, in some form of video that I pre-recorded. When we found this house, okay, I recorded a video that I'm going to play for you right now, okay, with one of my apprentice students, okay? So you will, you know, this house had been vacant for about 5 years. The owner moved out of town. Not only did they move out of town, they moved out of the country. Okay, so how do you find somebody who is not even in the country? That's part of the techniques that you'll be learning, you know, as you become familiar with, you know, with my program, okay, or you get into one-on-one coaching, because giving you this technique, you know, it's going to take a lot longer than I could actually explain in this, you know, short webinar. Okay. Part of the things you have to learn is how to skip trace. Skip trace meaning that, you know, find the owner. Most of these owners, when they leave their property, they don't want to be found. When they abandon their property, Either they're running from the lender, they're running from collection agencies. They don't want to be found, period. So you have to be able to become a detective in order to find the owners of properties. Okay, but your first step is to recognize these properties. And I mean, this property is less than 10 years old. I mean, if you look at it, okay, it's almost brand new, but somebody went in and broke the window, so we had to burn it up after we got control of the property. So I'm going to play this video for you right now, and then you see exactly what I mean. This is a picture of another property that we got some time ago. So let me play the video so you guys can see. Hi, this is Amazing Toying, and I want to discuss this particular property. If you got my email last week and you're on my mailing list, I showed a property that I bought for $10. Okay, the property is kind of similar to this, and in fact, I'm going to pull up the property right now so you guys can see it. So I'm going to pause my thing right now and pull up the property, and then I'll come back to this property. So if you got my email last week, this is the property that I paid $10 for. Okay, we bought this property for $10 from the owner. I went in and negotiated the loan down by about 80%. So on this property, that I only invested $10, I'll probably make close to over $100,000, 101 to be exact. Okay, but I'm not really wanting to talk about this property. I'm going to talk about this property in another episode of my channel. Okay, this is the GIC Deal Finders channel. Okay, so I'm going to talk about this property in another episode. Okay, so for now, I'm going to go back to my recording. So today, the topic of this recording is this property. Okay, so one of my student coaches found this property. This property has now been vacant for about 6 years. And the owner is not even out of it's not in the country. We have to chase the owner down all the way to China, okay, where they now reside, in order for us to buy the property. Okay, so since then, people have occupied the property and they are living in there. And I'll show you pictures of the inside in a minute because I took a video. So, because it's been vacant, the lender has come in and put a sign on the property. Usually when a property is vacant for a long time, the lender tries to protect themselves, okay? And so they sometimes come in and they'll change the locks, okay? But technically, they don't really have a right to occupy anybody's property, but they can, if it's vacant, they will try to protect their investment, change the locks and have somebody check on it every once in a while. But as the owner has legal right to its property because the owner is still entitled. The lender doesn't really have any legal rights until they foreclose on the property in terms of entry. But once in a while, the lenders go in and they put a sign on this. So we saw this sign, okay, and the door has been broken in, even though the lender might have changed the locks, but the door was broken in, and there are vagrants living in the property. Now, I don't want it to seem like I'm jumping, but here's another property while we were on our way to go look at the other property that I would say, I'll call it's on Jar Road. I don't want to give the complete name of the property right now because we're kind of still in escrow on it. So we saw this property on our way, okay? The reason I mentioned this property is that there are 14 million properties out there that are vacant, okay? Vacant and abandoned, right? I call them abandoned properties, ABD, usually that's, okay? So here's another property that we found on the way, that we actually own this property. I just stopped by to take a look at it, okay? Every time we bought it up, somebody goes in and abandon it. This has also been vacant for about 5 years. Okay, and I'll tell you about this property. So I'm going to call this property um, LB. Okay, you know, that's the street. Okay, that's the street initial anyway. So going back to this other property that I call, JER, right? So we went in. So I took some videos. See, hopefully I'll find my video here. So okay, I'm going to play the video. This is Andre. Andre is one of my students. Okay, so I'll play the video so you guys can hear. Okay, this is amazing Toyin. I am here doing a video with Andre. Andre is one of my students. So Andre was driving by, just like everyone does on a regular basis, and found this house. Okay, and we traced down the owner of the house. And now we're gonna, make an offer on the house, get the house under contract, and negotiate with the bank. Reduce the loan. Okay, so one of the things that people do is you drive by houses on a regular basis, and there are millions and millions of these houses available. Okay, you drive by, you don't do anything about it, and the next thing you see somebody's pushing it out, and you find out that they're making the money and you're not. Okay, so Sanjay, can you talk a little bit about how you found this owner, or how you found this property?
Basically, I was canvassing the area looking for abandoned properties. Okay. I was looking for abandoned properties, and so I came across this property and noticed it was, it looks the way it does right now. So gave me some clues that it was vacant. Got out of the car, checked it out. For sure, it was vacant. Had postings from the city on the windows. As you can see, they're not there right now, but. So anyways, pulled off, got the information from the property, like the address and everything else, and his research and Tony found the owner. So anyway, so now we're here trying to acquire the property. So
how long has this house been vacant?
I spoke with the owner. He said about 5 years.
5 years.
Yeah.
So which means people have been driving around here for 5 years, and nobody stopped to do anything, and you did something.
Right.
Now, give me an example. Let's say we did this deal and we get contract. About how much can we make on this property?
Wow. I'm not even sure. I mean, it just depends.
20,000, 30,000.
Okay.
And so let's say we make 20,000, right? How much work did you have to do to make 20,000?
Oh, very little. Very little. I mean, just kind of, canvas and look for property, drive by areas in my air conditioned car, and get out and kind of do some preliminary research.
All right. Okay, so let's try to see if we can get in, and because right now it looks like somebody's digging in. But I'm gonna stop the video and see if we can get in, and then we'll go talk to you. So we went into this property, and there's quite a little bit of damage, not a whole lot, but somebody's living in there. And usually the people that live in these houses, they're vagrants, they're looking for a place to sleep at night, and sometimes they steal the appliances, they steal the wires, they steal the copper, and they sell it for peanuts. Okay, so if you want to watch more of these episodes, I want you to subscribe to the channel. Okay, in my next video, I'm gonna go take you inside this property. Okay, and I'll show you some of the documents. After we talk to the owner and sign the contract. Okay, and I think the offer on the contract is about $1. Okay, so we bought the house for $1. So I think we bought the house for $1. There's a large amount owed on this property. We got all the paperwork we need to contact the lender so that we could do a short sale on it and make some money. Okay, so like I stated, earlier, there are about 14 million homes out there. Okay, that are vacant and abandoned. Okay, and all you really need is maybe scout around, and put one house in escrow maybe once every couple of months and make $20,000-$30,000. You don't even have to leave your job to do it, because every time you drive by, you see all these houses, and you don't do anything about it, and somebody does. Okay, and so if you want to learn how to do this, you could subscribe to the channel and listen to more, or you could go to my website at GIC Deal Finders. GIC Deal Finders. Okay, or look for me under Amazing Towing. All right. So I'm going to stop this video so that but I will reference this house in my next video. Thank you. So as I was saying, so we got this house, okay, and I'm going to show you some of the documents, what I call the instrument of control, okay, on how we now have complete control of this property. We're in negotiation with the lender, okay. We're looking to discount the loan by about 30, 40, 50% so that we could go in, fix it up, whatever cosmetics work in it, and make the money and move to the next deal. So I'm going to show you quickly another video of some property. Okay, this is Amazing Toy again. I'm here with my son on the camera, and this is Andre, who is one of the apprentice students. Andre found this house, okay. We managed to locate the owner through some strategic marketing programs that we employ. The owner actually contacted me. Okay, that's part of the strategies we employ. We make the owner contact us. This house has been vacant for what, 6, 7 years? About 3 years. This house has been vacant for 3 years. The owner left. Okay, gave the house to some agent to negotiate a short sale. The agent did not succeed. For 2 years, they tried to negotiate a short sale. The second refused to even budge. So the agent just left the house like that. The owner is someplace, it's probably still around here because I talked to him yesterday. Part of the things you have to learn in this business is the ability to negotiate, right? So, when you get control of a property, most investors will actually run away, because if the property is worth less than what is owed on it, okay, most people don't know what to do with it, including agents, brokers. They don't know what to do. They just like, Mr. Jones, I can't help you. Just let the lender foreclose. In my case, before there was a short sale, I've been doing short sales since the late 80s. Okay, because when I first learned how to do buy and sell real estate, okay, I learned it, just shortly after I got out of college, and I started my first business, and I lost the business, and I didn't make money. I dabbled in real estate, and I got a coach, and somebody held my hand, and they taught me how to do short sale. Okay, before short sale now become fashionable, we knew how to discount, how to do short sale. Okay, so I'll let you listen to a little bit more to the rest of this video, because if you don't understand the process of negotiating with the first, second, and third lenders on the property, okay, where you could go in, sometimes you don't even have to discount the first, you might, do, what we call, a second. You just discount the second and you buy out the first. Do all kind of tricks that we can use so that you will be able to build in the profit going in. Okay, so you don't waste your time. The beauty about real estate is this, okay, when I spend my time on something, I am guaranteed to make money in the end. Okay, you can't say that for most businesses or most, jobs. If you have a job, you can only sell the hours that you have. And how many hours do you have in a day? Okay, probably at most 8. Okay, so if all you can sell is 8 hours, okay, what is the most anybody's willing to pay for your skill for 8 hours a day, right? Okay, so that's why you need the ability to leverage your knowledge, okay, your brain. And that's why the uh, biggest return you could have on your money is the money you spend teaching yourself how to do something that does not depend on you having to exchange your hours, okay, your time for money, right? You want to focus on something you could leverage your brain such that when you make a deal, okay, you are not exchanging hours, for money. So eventually we found the owner of this property. Okay. Initially he resisted us, right? He resisted, like he didn't trust it, he didn't really like the way we found him. So he was like unhappy that we found him, and he didn't really like the strategy we employed to find him. So eventually he came to realize that, we're looking for him so we can help him. Okay, even though he didn't like it, I had to explain to him, Mr. Jones, if we hadn't found you, right, okay, this property is going to remain in your name. And if you think the lender wants the property, how come they haven't taken it for 4 years? I mean, 3 years. Okay, you don't want the property, the lender doesn't want it, but the property is in your name. And if the property is still in your name, you are liable. The lender is not liable, you are liable. The person on title is liable for what happens on the property, not the lender. And most owners don't understand that. They don't understand that. They figure, well, since they moved out of the house, it's no longer their responsibility. We have a property right now where the owner is getting code violations. The code violations is not coming in the name of the lender, it's coming in the owner's name because they are still on title. So I'm going to let you guys listen a little bit more to this video and then we'll move on. But somehow the agent convinced him not to work with us because, I don't understand. First, the agent can't get the deal done, or the agent no longer has the listing, yet he will not advise his client properly that we want to buy the house. Or that's all we want to do, buy the house. Hopefully, if we buy the house, we'll make some money, number one. And number two, this thing will get off his credit. Look at the grass. It's all dry. But this guy right now will not cooperate. So eventually, like I said, we found the guy. Now he's cooperating with us. Okay, we have the property under our control. We're negotiating with the lender. So I'm going to go to another deal so that you guys can follow the process. Okay, so earlier one of the questions that I asked was, how do you find these deals? Okay, and so one of the things I want you to do is just go on your computer and put in the zip code. Just put a zip code around you in your area, right? So you put in the zip code, and once you put in your zip code, Google will pull up a map for you, right? You just click on the map, okay? So you click on Google Map, okay? And then find any street, Main Street, USA, right? Just find any street, right? And, so we're in, I'm in Victorville right now in California, okay? And you could draw a circle, right? Just 1 mile radius circle, okay, around what street you want to be in, okay? Once you draw that, okay, then just click on the street view, right? So even without leaving your house, you could drive some streets right now with Google Earth. You could drive around, and check out what's on that street. Look at this house. Just look at this. Doesn't that look like an abandoned property, right? Okay, without even leaving your house, okay, you could drive the streets and see, all the crummy looking houses where the grass is dry, stuff like that. Okay, look at this. That looks like an abandoned house right there. Look at, there's no grass. You could see some debris right here. Okay, let me show you. If you look here, you will see, some things that were left. Okay, there's no grass, right? That's how you recognize as you drive around the neighborhood. Right now I'm just on Google, Earth. Okay, but I do mostly recognize these things by driving around. Okay, so when you drive around, the first thing I do is, if I see a property, I immediately stop my car. Okay, as soon as I stop my car, um, then I write the address down. So I stop my car. I always carry a yellow pad with me. I write the address down. Okay, I make a note. I use my phone to take a picture. Okay, and then when I get home, I look up the property. So part of the things I'm going to teach you is how to find the owner, how to look up the property. What's the first thing you have to do to look up the property? Well, there are certain things you have to do. You could look up this property by going to the county recorder's office, okay, which is a lot of work, right? You could access most county recorders or city recorders wherever you are in the US, okay, online. Just Google your county recorder's office, go to the tax assessor's department, right? Put in the address of the property, and usually in some cases, in most cases, it will pull up the name of the owner, right? Okay, go to the tax section, right? In the past, they used to give the mailing address of the owner, but these days, because of privacy, most tax assessors do no longer give the mailing addresses. Okay, what I mean by mailing addresses is that a lot of people that are out of town, okay, will have a forwarding or mailing address where they receive their tax information. If they don't have a different address, usually they will receive their tax information at the property where they live. But if nobody lives at the property, where does the tax information go to? That's one strategy, that's one trick to finding the owner. Because if the property is vacant and there's no mail being received there, somebody may be paying the taxes. Okay, either the lender is paying it if there's a money owed on it. How do you even find out if there's money owed on the property? Okay, almost probably 30 to 40% of properties that are abandoned actually have no loans on them. They are free and clear. Okay, in the US, 30% of the over 200 million homes that we have are free and clear. Okay, a lot of abandoned properties have no loans on them because the owner either paid off the mortgage, somebody inherited the property, they don't want it, the owner passed away, all kind of stuff is going on with the property. Okay, so how do you find the owner? That's where your tax assessors come in. Okay, one of the things that I've used over the last 20 years is get with a title company, right? A title company has information on every property in the US, right? So you will need a title rep. Just call any title company and introduce yourself, okay? And I'll show you what steps you will employ to get on their not on their mailing list, to get with the title rep such that they give you access to the information that you will need. Because starting out, you may not have money to pay for all this information. Okay, and I would not even encourage you to start using your money. I mean, I've been getting title information for 20 years and I've never had to pay for it. Today, you have all these online information systems that want money from you so that you could get the access to the address of the owner and stuff like that. No, there are ways you could get to the owner without necessarily having to pay anything. Okay, I've been doing that for almost 20 years. Okay, and I'll show you how to do all that. So you now get the title information, you get the owner's address, the mailing address, you get the mailing address. You write a letter. My name is Toyin. I saw your house, in my neighborhood. I'm interested in buying it. Please call me as soon as possible. I can pay cash for this house. Right? It's like about 4 or 5 lines. Okay. If they're interested in selling, guess what happened? Your phone will be ringing within about 4 or 5 days. Because the moment they get the letter, the next thing they're doing is calling you. And I've had that happen to me on several occasions. Okay. So I'm going to show you quickly, some of the title information that I pulled on the previous house we were looking at. Okay. On this house. That's my daughter right there. On this house, that we were looking at earlier. Okay. So this is the title information. Let me stop this. I gotta stop this painting in order to see that. Okay, so this is the title information that we were looking at, right? Okay, the property we were looking at earlier, this is the property. So what it does is that it gives us a title profile. Okay, the profile gives you the name of the owner, right? It also gives you their mailing address. Okay, in most cases, if the mailing address is different from the owner's, right, from the address of the property, that tells you right there the owner doesn't live at the property. It's as simple as that. Okay, now when you go further down here, it gives you the history of the property. You know, what kind of loans they have on it. If the property is in foreclosure, it tells you all there. If you look here, it says right here foreclosure. Okay, you know, so this property has been vacant since 2010. There was a foreclosure in 2010. The owner moved out almost 5 years ago. So you can see right there, it's 5 years when the foreclosure started, right? That's 2010. Before the lender finally decided, okay, well, we're now going to do a real foreclosure. They started in 2010. They abandoned it, and they didn't do anything. So the property was vacant. So all this information you could get through your title company, okay, you know, through your title rep, but you have to have some kind of relationship with them, and I'll show you how to develop that relationship so this doesn't cost you anything. So the only thing you're going to invest in terms of finding this property and making money on them is your time. Okay, you will not even need money, you know, because I'll show you right now. If you look at the property, this is the grand deed. Okay, the moment I go with the owner, I got the grand deed. The grand deed is what I call the instrument of control, right? Okay, it's the grand deed that you need to control any property. With the grand deed, right? Once you get the grand deed, you are in control, right? Now, below is my offer on the property. This is my real estate purchase contract on this property, right? Okay, and I want you to see how much I bought. The purchase price for the sale is $1 right there. Okay, I bought the property for $1. Okay, now I'm in control of it. Okay, I'll probably make at the minimum $30,000 to $40,000 on this property. How much work have we done? We found a property. It took like 5-10 minutes. Okay, we negotiated with the owner. That took about an hour, right? Now we're talking to the lender. You know, it's going to take maybe a few weeks, right? Will you do a few weeks worth of work to make $30,000, right? If you notice right here, you know, that's my company right there that bought the property. So now I'm going to show you, you know, some other properties that I've done, okay, that actually, where I send it in the letter. And okay, so this property, I was driving around my neighborhood where I went to collect rent on another property that I owned. And I had been driving there, you know, around this property for almost 5 years. I actually bought a property next to this property, okay, you know, about 4 years prior. I bought a property around here, and I said to myself, well, I wasn't sure if this property was vacant at that time, but I said I will just send a letter to the owner. But I was so busy, I never got a chance to send a letter. So eventually, 4 years later, I was driving by to collect rent on another property. And I saw this property and I said, wait a minute, this property is even in worse shape. So I approached the property, you know, got inside the property. Because at that time, the city had come in, they had boarded it up, okay. I managed to get in and it was full of graffiti. You know, if you look at it right here, you know, it's a lot of graffiti right here. You know, the owner left the property and left all their belongings. Okay, apparently I found out after sending a letter to the owner. Okay, I got a response back from the owner's daughter for about four or 5 days later, and she told me, well, I moved my mom to Las Vegas because she was, you know, not feeling good. That was 5 years. Okay, so they just abandoned the property. They're living in Vegas, and you know, vagrants have been going in and out of the property. Okay, so I asked them if they wanted to sell and how much can they sell the property to me for. And she said, well, you know, if you give us $7 grand, you know, you could have the property. Okay, so I immediately wrote up my offer. This is my offer right here on the property. If you notice right here, my option offer is $1. It says right there, $1. I gave them an option to buy the property for $7,500. Okay, but I only gave them $1 down. I did what I have to do, put the property in escrow. By the time the 30 days rolled around, okay, I had sold this property to somebody else. Okay, so I ended up selling this property to another person. Okay, within that 30 days. Okay, and this person gave me he gave me $10,000 down when when we wrote the contract. Okay, at the close of escrow, he gave me another $25,000, right? And I carried about $3,000 for him for about 6 months. Okay, when it was all said and done, I sold the property for about $38,000. Okay, gave the owner $7,500, and I ended up with a profit, profit of right of 31,000. Right here, 31,000. For 30 days worth of work just for sending a simple letter. Okay, so if you have the ability to send a letter out to any property owner that you drive around and you see it, you have a chance to make this kind of money, right? What kind of work will you do? Can you do? Okay, that gives you the opportunity to mail something for 50 cents and get paid $31,000. Only in real estate can you do that. So now that you learn how to recognize these vacant and abandoned houses, okay, I don't want you to ever drive by any house that you suspect that might be vacant or abandoned. The grass is dry, it looks like nobody lives there, and even if somebody lives there, you have a right. Okay, I mean, you take down the address of any property. When I drive around, I just stop and I take down the address. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. You go and check it out. Okay, you find out what's going on with it, because the profile will show you what's going on with the property. The profile is like the x-ray. Like when you go to a hospital, they take an x-ray and they see all your bones, if you have a broken bone and stuff like that. That's the same thing as having a property profile. The property profile tells you the history of the house, how long has been owned, who owns it, how many loans are on it, what kind of title problems it might have. Okay, eventually you will be able to do what is called a preliminary title report. But initially you get the profile. It gives you a whole bunch of information to make you to help you decide whether you want to go further to invest in investigating the history of that property, or whether you want to send a letter to the owner. The moment you pull up a property, you notice that the owner and the mailing address of the owner and the property is different. That property is no longer just a suspect. It's now become a prospect, a prospective property that you could make money on. Okay, so you will learn how to control the property, right? Once you know how to control the property, you know how to make the offer, you know how to get the deal, the deed. The next thing is putting money in your hip pocket. I mean, the next thing is the bank, because once you control the deed, right? Okay, now you have the ability to transfer that deed and make money on it. So that's the story right there. Okay, so once you know the process, right, then the ability to make money comes naturally, right? And you now get the opportunity to become successful. Now, so my question to you is, where do you go from here, right? Do you want further help? Do you want me to hold your hands, or do you want to go ahead and do this on your own? I'm sure you're going to have questions. For those who might want me to, do one-on-one with them, I am available to do all that. So in order for you to get with me in terms of one-on-one, you could either call my phone number or send me an email, to amazingtoyin@gmail.com. Okay, amazingtoyin@gmail.com. Or better still, you're better off scheduling an appointment. Okay, because the only person standing in your way, okay, in terms of getting going, okay, as far as becoming an investor and making money in the millions and millions of properties that are vacant and abandoned, is you, right? Once you know what you're doing, right, and you have somebody holding your hand, right, the sky is the limit. Because how many deals do you need? If you're making $30,000 per deal, how many deals do you need in a year? One or two? And there are millions of these properties all over the place. So I want you to go in, click on this link right here, okay? Click on the link or write it down and put it in your website address, okay? Schedule an appointment to talk to me, and we'll decide whether this is something that we can work on together. Because obviously, I do a lot of deals within my neighborhood. I can't see properties that are vacant and abandoned in Oklahoma, Texas, Dallas, Washington. I just bought a property in um, Baltimore, right? And one of my students brought it to me, okay? But if you are driving around your neighborhood and I already show you how to do this, okay? You don't have to give me the money. You don't have to send me the property. You'll be able to take it down by yourself, okay? And make the $20,000, $30,000 that is available, okay? So that's it for the webinar. I hope you've learned something. If you have questions, like I said, you could email me amazingtoyin@gmail.com, or better still, just schedule an appointment to meet with me on a one-on-one basis, and I can show you how to take this thing further. All right. Thank you very much, and I'll see you at the top. It's been nice talking to you. I hope you enjoyed the webinar. My name is Amazing Toyin. I am the founder of GIC Deal Finders, and I'll see you at the top. Go ahead, copy this information down, and I'm going to leave it for a few more minutes so you could copy it down. It's www.meetme.so/GIC Deal Finders. You'll be able to schedule an appointment with me and go further in this business of learning to control vacant and abandoned properties. Okay? Thank you.